don't need permission to express how you feel or what it is that you're going through. Welcome or welcome back. It's your favorite mental health specialist, Psych Guidance. And what we're going to talk about today is expressing your truth. You have to realize that you have feelings, you're a human being, and that what you go through matters and it's valid. You have to realize as you grow older, as you mature in life, anybody who makes you feel bad about you expressing yourself or you just being you is not for you. So what we're going to talk about in this video is why it's really imperative for you to always vocalize how you feel or find a way to cope with what you're going through. And the reason why mainly is because when you don't say what's on your mind, or you don't speak up, or you don't address certain issues, it's only going to bother you, and it's going to show up in many ways of your life. It's going to affect you psychologically, emotionally, physically, mentally, and financially. As your favorite mental health specialist, your mental health is connected to everything else in life. So it's like if you're mentally unstable, your emotions are going to be imbalanced. Your finances may not be where you want them to be. Like, you're not going to be in divine alignment with your purpose and in yourself. And that's another reason why it's so important for you to always be who you are, because this life is for you. Like, everybody is living a different reality. Like, yes, everybody has the same 24 hours in life, but everybody does not know what everybody knows. So it's just like, say what you want to say. There are so many people in this world for you to find your audience and your community. Not just that, you should never feel like you being yourself is an issue. The problem is a lot of people feel small. A lot of people are not confident. A lot of people are insecure. So it's like when people are considered to be outspoken, it's an issue. Or you're arrogant, you're full of yourself, you're conceited. As long as you're not harming yourself and others, why can't you not say how you feel? Why can't you not take up space? Why is it an issue for you to validate how you feel, whether it's negative or positive? And you have to realize people who lack emotional intelligence cannot comprehend, which means they cannot fathom, nor can they help you come up with solutions or identify your problems. Now, of course, everyone does not have to be a mental health specialist. Everyone does not have to do everything. These videos are not for you, but for the people who are watching this, if this is your first time here, you have to realize that when you are venting to people, when you're confiding in others, it should be mutual, meaning they have respect for you, they're willing to understand you, and it's important to differentiate the difference between whether you want advice or you just need somebody to listen to you. Once again, if people feel like you're complaining, you're always in a negative situation, those are not the people that are for you. Now, this doesn't mean that it's okay for you to just trauma dump onto people or go to people and feel entitled to their time and energy just because you feel some type of way. But if somebody genuinely cares about you, when somebody respects you, and like I said, when somebody is mature and has the emotional intelligence, they're not going to be dismissive of you. So it's like the reason why you have to regulate your emotions is because you may not always have somebody to confide in. So it's like once you say how you feel within yourself, a therapist, me, your favorite mental health specialist, God, ancestors in the universe, you can start to come up with these solutions so you're not feeling stuck and stagnant, so you're not feeling depressed and have anxiety or be anxious, as well as when you are building relationships with people, when you are conversing with people, you know who to talk about what without feeling judged and shame. And this goes with anybody. Like, the people that try to judge people, they're hypocritical. And they're the biggest contradictors in the world. And I have no problem saying that on my platform, because nobody's supposed to be afraid of anything or anybody at the end of the day. Like, if me telling my truth triggers you because you're not comfortable with yourself, that's a you problem. Like, people being arrogant, people being shady, people gossiping about you, people just trying to one-up you, they have so many internal issues. Like, let's really talk about it. So it's like, you're allowed to express how you feel for multiple reasons. The main one is for understanding and comprehension. You have to identify why you feel mad, why you feel sad, because some days are going to be challenging. Like, you go through things. That's another reason why it's so imperative for you to always just talk about how you genuinely feel and not sugarcoat it or suppress it, because it's like, if you don't, you're gonna be bothered. Like I said, this is where all these other problems stem from. And a lot of times, because some of us grow up in households where communication is not taught, it's not shown, you can't be vulnerable because you have negative, narcissistic, low vibrational people who take advantage of you, which is also a different topic. So it's like you're afraid or you feel like nobody cares. You should never feel that way. A lot of people come on here and say they want community and love and like, but it's just like as soon as somebody tells them how they feel when it's negative or it's not something that they're used to, they don't know what to do. So it's like when you're going through things, say how you feel. So like if you're having a bad day today, you're allowed to do that. Like you have to learn how to validate how you feel. So not only, like I said, are you becoming aware and educated and you have understanding, but you know where it's stemming from. So you can either have a solution, come to an agreement with it, or leave it as what it is. But not saying how you feel just to make other people feel comfortable. Do they make you feel comfortable? Do other people make you feel comfortable when you go out your way to not express yourself or be true to who you are? And a lot of times, like I said, because a lot of people suffer with internal insecurities and they don't want to be honest about it, it shows up. A lot of people project what is inside of them. Some people do it intentionally because they're not happy with themselves. And some people do it because that's all they're familiar with. So that's another thing. When you're having conversations with people, common sense is not common. If you can learn that life is about perspective and there's so many ways to do anything, you won't be so quick to dismiss other people who don't have the same understandings as you or feel frustrated. Learning to communicate, learning to articulate how you feel and what you're going through. If you want to, of course, because it's also a choice. Speaking from experience, the relationships that I've had in my life, and I'm not just talking about intimately, but just in general, I realized there were certain people where I didn't even care to address certain things or say certain things. And in those situations, when you know it's not mutual, when you know you don't have any value, you don't have to say certain things because everything does not always need to be explained. But the relationships that you do care for, when you want to be around certain people and places and things, and you want to express yourself and you genuinely have a concern, say how you feel. If you are feeling upset, it's okay to be upset. Like as human beings, a lot of people are so quick to dehumanize their emotions and don't realize why it's showing up in so many ways. And when you go through a lot of trauma in life, when nobody tells you as your favorite mental health specialist, people think that when you are crying and you're grieving, that you're psychotic, you need help, there's something wrong with you. And it's literally the opposite. It's the people who walk around acting like they don't have emotions, acting like they're just so numb and so nonchalant and making people feel bad because they cry. You know that crying is a natural reflex and everyone's been crying since they came out of this womb. But people who are dismissive, people who suppress their feelings, people who are not, like I said, used to communicating or try to belittle people or make people feel less than are going to gaslight you and make it seem as if, oh, you're just weak or you need to get out your feelings or you don't know what you're talking about. And it's just like, that's not cute. Like, as an adult, it's not acceptable. Now, if you're younger than the age of 25, okay, your frontal lobe still has to develop. And I have a lot more understanding and grace because I used to be 25. But, you know, it's not to say that your age specifically determines your reality, but it says where you are and what you've learned. But until you are like old enough to understand and you experience certain things in life, so on a spiritual level, on a subconscious level, on a conscious level, adults are not going to judge you and shame you. If grown people are judging you, once again, that's their internal issues. And that's another reason why it's so important to express how you feel. So people are not projecting their internal issues onto people who did nothing. Like you're going to meet people who are just going to be rude and nasty. I'm speaking from experience, who are just very ugly. Like that's just what it is. A lot of people, and I'm not talking about looks, a lot of people are ugly in the inside because they've been hurt, and I understand, but it's like, it doesn't make it acceptable. And it's like, until people work on the ugly energy that they have inside of them, they literally hurt and harm people or go out their way to be envious of people and just be upset with people and create these false narratives. And it's like, that's psychotic. That's not okay. And that's another reason why, the main reason why you should always express how you feel, because why are you hating on somebody who did nothing to you? Why are you trying to disturb somebody's peace who never wanted you to do bad? Like, a lot of people want people to do bad because they're not happy with themselves. They don't talk about how they feel. Like, pay attention. Start to pay attention to people who talk about you behind your back. Pay attention to your so-called family members who gossip about you and put other people before you. Pay attention to the people that you think that you're friends. Pay attention to the people that you're at jobs with. Pay attention to the people you're in schools with, even the people you're in relationships with. Pay attention. It's not okay. Say how you feel. Like, who cares if people, you're judging me because I'm expressing how I feel? Who are you supposed to be? Like, never allow anybody who does not want any well of you to deny who you are as a person. So it's like, if people make up in their mind that they want to have these false narratives, that they want to be insecure, they want to be envious, remove yourself. Don't dim your light just because other people are unhappy with themselves. And the same people that are very much so unhappy with themselves, they pretend. I'm speaking from experience. I've witnessed and I've observed a lot of people in my life who pretend like they're all dandy and landy, but in the inside, they're not. And it shows. Say how you feel. Like, who cares? Like, if people are not for you, then once again, nobody has to be your friend. Nobody has to keep up with you. Nobody has to do anything. And that's another thing. Like, that's not normal. Saying that you dislike people, but you constantly talk negatively about them, you're not mentally okay. You're not emotionally okay. And this is not a place, like I said, to judge these people, but because I'm saying how I feel and I'm telling my truth, that's what it is. A lot of people like to say it's not what you say, it's how you said it. It's both. If somebody wants to be mad, if somebody wants to be upset, they're allowed to do that. Once again, the whole purpose is to really release what it is that you're feeling. So therefore, you can leave it alone. It's okay to grieve. Like, grieving could take years. Like, nobody could force you or rush you, including myself, when or how you get to do certain things in your life. It's not up to them. And when people cannot handle the truth, when people, like I said, poke the bear, but as soon as somebody slaps them back, they want to play the victim. Like, stay away from those type of people. And if you're this type of person, you need help. And once again, once you pay attention to how people communicate and what they're talking about, you will realize this person is constantly going out their way to gossip about people. But as soon as you return that energy onto them, they can't handle it. Whenever I'm going through something, it's so negative, or you always have problems, but you go through the same things, but it's not public. And because you're not vocalizing it, you try to hide it. You try to deny it. And those people are liars. But when you tell your truth, just know that the only people who are going to be triggered and challenged are the people who are not being honest. You're allowed to say what it is that you want to say, like I said, as long as you're not going out your way to harm yourself. And this is why, once again, it's so important. So therefore, if you do feel harm, you do feel negative, you're not taking that energy out onto people and places and things who did nothing to you. A lot of people who end up pew, 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 other people, or pew, pew, pewing themselves, is because they did not handle their emotions. They did not learn how to regulate them. Like, a lot of grown adults are toddlers who throw temper tantrums, just to make everybody else in the room feel comfortable. F those people. You should not be around people who you cannot be 100% yourself without judgment or shame. When you have conversations with people, people should not be repeating that information. Like, it's very confidential. And a lot of people, like I said, think it's cute to group up against people and think they're superior. They're weak. If 5 people have to group up against one person, if 2 people have to come up against one person, they're weak. They're weak. They're weak. You can't come to that person individually. And they know that. That's the part that they know that. So it's like, once you address how you feel, once you see people for who they are, just release what it is that you need to say. So therefore, you don't have to feel that way. It's no reason for you to be mentally stuck, or what people say, go through spiritual attacks, or spiritual warfare. It's an illusion. It's not everybody's reality. Everybody in the world is not poor. Everybody in the world is not suffering. Everybody is not unmentally stable. There are a lot of wealthy, successful, happy people in this world. They just broadcast a lot of the negativity so people don't be abundant. Say how you feel. If anybody has a problem with you addressing how you, stop talking to them. And don't go out your way to become people who, like I said, these miserable, because that's what they are. Misery loves company. When you're a miserable individual, you want everybody else around you to feel like you. And it's not gonna, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Let people tell lies to themselves. Let people pretend, but you say how you are. Be real. If you're real, like I said, you know when to speak, you know what to address, you know who, what, when, where, and why. And if you don't, you'll learn that. But don't ever feel like you can't, like I said, speak about certain things. Because being mad, being upset, feeling frustrated, being confused is common. You're a human. You have feelings. You're allowed to feel. Nobody should ever make you feel embarrassed or ashamed about what you're going through. And don't forget the people that did. Speaking from experience, I will never forget how people went out their way to, like I said, to be ugly. Very ugly. And I'm not talking about, like I said, looks. Very ugly in spirit. Going out your way to talk about somebody who did nothing to you. And you think grouping up and like it's not cute at all. Like it's really low vibrational, but that's just what it is. You have low vibrational people in this world, and then you have people on a higher vibration. And if you're this low vibrational person, you should feel your chest being tight. People have to learn how to respect themselves so everybody else can exist. It's no reason why people are envious. That is not something that is normal. It's not. It's not. It's really not. And when you do that, you continue to live in that vibration. The same things that people try to talk, I'm telling you from experience, every single person who has said something negative about me ended up in the same situation, if not worse. Every single person. Every single person. Every single one of them. But I don't live my life for other people. So, like I said, I've never cared about none of those people. You have to know who's worthy of your time. Everyone does not need your full undivided attention. I've learned that, and I've been grateful that I've able to experience that from childhood. That's something that was installed in me. Once again, everyone doesn't know what I know. Everybody's not a know-it-all. People only know what they've experienced. But if you don't have the emotional intelligence, if you don't learn to listen, if you don't understand perspective, if you're not learning and growing and challenging yourself to different realities, you're not going to be able to get it. And that's fine. Once you make up in your mind you don't like something, or you don't like someone, or you don't want to deal with them, then don't. But don't dim your light. Don't deny how you feel. It is okay. And tell the truth. Like, people want you to not speak up because they're manipulators and they gaslight you. And it's just like, a lot of people are the problem. But speaking from experience, when you try, like I said, when you try to confront people who don't communicate and they're not honest, it's just leave them alone. Leave that any energy alone. So it's like, when you see this video, say how you feel. Say exactly how you feel, and say it in the tone, because the tone and what you say matters. It's both. Like how I'm speaking in this tone right now, oh well. It's either for you or it's not. Nobody's going to watch what they say just to make you feel comfortable if it's not mutual. And like I said, when you're in a relationship where people respect you and they love you, it should never get to that point. You should not have to yell and curse and argue with people just to have a conversation with them. You shouldn't feel the need to one up, try to be better than, try to compete with them. If that's your friend, if that's your family, if that's your boyfriend, if that's your girlfriend, if that's your brother, if that's your sister, if that's your boss. Okay? So say how you need to say. Don't deny your anger. Do not deny your frustration, because in the end, it's only going to bother you. So if you have questions, comments, and concerns, and this video resonates with you, give it a big thumbs up, comment down below, make sure you subscribe, follow me on all social media platforms at @Ty_Guidance, your favorite mental health specialist, aka your favorite rich auntie. But say how you feel.